Dante's Boxing Nation, let's get into it. Bradley versus Pacquiao, the rematch is official. Let's go ahead and talk about this fight, how it should play out, and who's going to win this fight. Now, the first thing I want to say is, if you believe the hype that the first fight was an extreme robbery and Manny Pacquiao won the fight easy, then that means you also believe that Manny Pacquiao is going to win this rematch easy. Manny Pacquiao, if you believe that hype, then Manny Pacquiao should go into this fight. He should win every round, and I mean every round, easy. And then he should stop Tim Bradley because Tim Bradley doesn't have any power, right? And even if Tim Bradley uses excellent footwork in the ring like he did in the Marquez fight, that shouldn't be a problem for Manny Pacquiao either. Because Manny Pacquiao has this expert trainer named Freddie Roach, right? And with an expert trainer like Freddie Roach, there's no way Freddie Roach wouldn't know what to do if a fighter was moving around the ring. So Freddie Roach is going to teach his fighter how to cut off the ring, right? He's going to teach him how to cut off the ring to where Tim Bradley has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to move around the ring because Manny Pacquiao is going to be cutting off the ring. So the fight should be an easy fight for Manny Pacquiao. That's only if you guys believe the hype. Let me tell you something right now. That's not going to happen. You know why it's not going to happen? Because the first fight wasn't easy for Manny Pacquiao. The first fight was not a blowout for Manny Pacquiao. The first fight was an extremely close fight. Okay? It was an extremely close fight that could have went either way. It was not a robbery. The reason why people call it a robbery is because the entire world wanted Manny Pacquiao to win the fight. And the entire world did not want Tim Bradley to win the fight. People wanted Pacquiao to win because he was this iconic figure. And people also wanted him to win because they wanted to believe that he was the person that would beat Floyd Mayweather. That's why they called that fight a robbery. But it wasn't a robbery. Another reason why we know that it's not a robbery is because if you look at the odds right now, and when I say the odds, I'm talking about public opinion. The majority of people believe that know boxing, I'm saying the ones that know boxing, not just casual fans. The majority of knowledgeable boxing fans, they are all picking Tim Bradley to win this fight. At least 70 to 80% of people right now. From all the comments that I've been reading whenever I talk about Pacquiao Bradley, the majority of people are picking Tim Bradley to win this rematch. That tells you the first fight wasn't a robbery. Like I said, it is not too often that a fighter gets robbed, loses his title, and is reluctant to fight the guy in an immediate rematch, right? And then when he finally decides to fight the guy, he's damn near almost an underdog. Usually when a guy gets robbed in a fight and there's a rematch, that guy is a favorite to win the fight easy. It's not the case in this fight. And I'm going to tell you guys why it's not the case. Because Tim Bradley is a hell of a fighter. Tim Bradley is a thinking fighter. He is an intelligent fighter. And thinking, intelligent fighters are the fighters that give Manny Pacquiao the most problems. Ever since this fight has been talked about, this rematch, I've been watching the first fight. And, you know, the more I watch the fight, the more it doesn't look good for Manny Pacquiao. I'll tell you guys why. Especially when you watch the first 4 rounds and you watch the last 3 rounds. All right? As far as I'm concerned, you could give all of those rounds to Tim Bradley. Okay, that's 7 rounds right there. 1 through 4 and 10 through 12. Now, what I find interesting is round 4 actually was the round that Manny Pacquiao, he hurt Tim Bradley with a good shot, and that's when Tim Bradley hurt his ankle. But that round was actually one of Tim Bradley's best rounds though. Even with him getting, hurt, it was still one of his best rounds. So let me get back to what I'm talking about. I watched this fight, and this is one of the main things that I notice when it comes to Manny Pacquiao. If you're a dumb fighter that comes forward, you'll see Manny Pacquiao throwing all different kind of punches, like when he was fighting against Margarito, David Diaz, Brandon Rios. You see Pacquiao throwing, all different type of punches, every punch in the book. But that's because he has a walking punching bag coming towards him. And we all know if you got a punching bag in your face, you're going to throw every punch in the book at the punching bag, right? But when Manny Pacquiao is forced to think, he relies on nothing but his left hand. And that's what I seen when I was watching the first fight between Pacquiao and Bradley. Manny Pacquiao is trying to figure out different ways to land the left hand. But the problem is, Tim Bradley, he's constantly moving to his left. Not only is he moving to his left, but he's also taking a quick step back every time Manny Pacquiao is ready to throw a punch. And what that does is it leaves Manny Pacquiao out of range, and it leaves him off balance, and it leaves him wide open for a counter. And it makes Manny Pacquiao look sloppy, reckless, which is coincidentally how Pacquiao got knocked out against Marquez. Marquez took a step back and made Pacquiao look reckless. He was out of range. He was right in a position to be countered. And Tim Bradley was doing this a lot of times in their original fight that they had. Now, the only thing that stopped Tim Bradley from fighting with this style was when he hurt his ankle. When Tim Bradley hurt his ankle, all of a sudden, you seen Tim Bradley just start standing right in front of Manny Pacquiao. He did this for like 5 rounds straight, just standing right in front of Manny Pacquiao. And like I said, we know that Tim Bradley doesn't have the firepower that Manny Pacquiao has. So it makes sense why he did it. He did it because he did not have the foot movement. I mean, think about it. This is a plan that Tim Bradley was telling the world he was going to implement, leading up to the fight for months, right? He constantly said, I'm going to beat Manny Pacquiao with my foot movement, with my excellent footwork. That's how I'm going to beat Manny Pacquiao. And for the first 4 rounds, it was looking like it was smooth selling for Tim Bradley until he hurt his ankle, okay? Which did have something to do with Manny Pacquiao. When Tim Bradley hurt his ankle, this is when he started to go toe to toe. But now you have to ask yourself, what if Tim Bradley doesn't hurt his ankle in a rematch? His footwork was excellent in the Marquez fight. And he didn't run. I come from a boxing background. I know about boxing, so let me educate the casual fans. When you're keeping the fight in the center of the ring, you're not running. Running is when you have to use the entire ring, all right? Not only is it when you have to use the entire ring, but you're giving your opponent a sense of security and confidence that he is in charge in the ring and he is intimidating you, okay? But when you're using subtle movements and you're keeping it in the center of the ring, you're still controlling the ring, okay? And you have that sense of confidence that you are controlling everything that goes on in the ring. Basically, ring generalship is what it is. This is what Tim Bradley was doing against Marquez. This is what Tim Bradley was doing partially in the first Pacquiao fight. If you listen to what Tim Bradley is saying right now about the fight, and then you listen to what Freddie Roach, Manny Pacquiao's trainer, has been saying about this possible rematch with Tim Bradley, it doesn't look good for Manny Pacquiao. And it tells you a lot of things that you need to know when it comes to how this rematch may play out. It shows you who has the confidence and who doesn't, and why a person like Bradley has confidence and a person like Freddie Roach is concerned. Freddie Roach, he said that this rematch with Tim Bradley is going to be a very difficult fight because Tim Bradley, he has good foot movement and he's just, he thinks in the ring. But Tim Bradley, on the other hand, he said this rematch is going to be easier than the first fight because I already know what to expect now. He said that Pacquiao is predictable and Marquez was a more difficult fight than what Pacquiao is going to be in a rematch. Also, coincidentally, Marquez said the same thing about Tim Bradley when he was about to fight Tim Bradley, that Tim Bradley is going to be a difficult opponent, and we've seen how that played out, and Tim Bradley said it would be easier for him. Now, let me go back to what I was saying earlier. I told you guys that Manny Pacquiao, he relies too much on his left hand. Tim Bradley did an excellent job at taking away that weapon. This is the mark of a great champion. The mark of a great champion is to take away your opponent's best weapon. All right? You take away their best weapon, they got nothing left. And I think this is going to happen in this rematch. I told you guys many times before, you don't want to give a thinker the answers to the test. Okay? You don't want to give a thinker the answers to the test because he is going to ace that test easy as hell. Manny Pacquiao still does not have the answers to this test when it comes to Tim Bradley. But Tim Bradley has the answers to the Manny Pacquiao test. He already knows every single thing that Manny Pacquiao is going to do. Especially when you have to think about the fact that even Manny Pacquiao's own trainer is sitting over here saying, well, he moves around the ring, and Freddie Roach is almost acting like he doesn't even know how to tell his fighter how to beat a guy who moves in the ring. But he sure had no problem telling his fighter to move himself in the ring when he was fighting against Brandon Rios. He had no problem teaching a guy how to move in the ring when someone is charging after him, but apparently he doesn't know how to tell his charge how to cut off the ring, which is going to be a major problem for Manny Pacquiao in this rematch. I see Tim Bradley winning this fight a lot easier than he won the first fight. I see this fight basically continuing right where the last one left off, which is when Tim Bradley started to take over late in the fight, and he started to completely frustrate and outbox Manny Pacquiao. Another thing I want to say is I think Manny Pacquiao, he slowed down tremendously in the first fight, and the reason why he slowed down is because Tim Bradley throws so many punches. I think Tim Bradley may have forced Manny Pacquiao to work more than Manny Pacquiao wanted to work. And not only that, but Tim Bradley was throwing a lot of body punches. You guys have to understand something. You don't have to be a power puncher to hurt somebody to the body, okay? You time a perfect shot to the body, and it'll really exert a person's energy. Another downfall for Manny Pacquiao is he has no inside game, and Tim Bradley is a monster on the inside. Okay, I think Tim Bradley is going to shine on the inside and that's going to give Manny Pacquiao a lot of problems. One Manny Pacquiao fan sent me a message and said Tim Bradley is going to get hurt like he got hurt in the Provodnikov fight. But once again, you have to understand, Manny Pacquiao is not a Provodnikov fighter. Provodnikov is an inside fighter. Pacquiao does not fight on the inside. So that's just something to think about. I'm out of time, guys. I'm on to the next one.